In today's video, I'm going to tell you why I think the next 12 months, so from October 2024 to October 2025, will be the most important 12 months of your life. I'm going to share a theory I've been thinking of where we get two medium-sized alt seasons in the next year as opposed to one giant one. I'm also going to give you a new plan for this cycle in terms of when to take profit and exit this cycle completely. We're going to analyze if we're in the start of a new uptrend for altcoins. I'm not calling for a full-blown mania alt season straight away, but what I'm going to answer is, are we entering the beginning stages of a multi-month altcoin uptrend that crescendos with a full-blown alt season? Before we start, please remember that nothing in this video is financial advice and I'm not a financial advisor. I'm going to start by sharing this new model I've created to help plan for this cycle and think about where to exit. So we had the disbelief phase during the FTX crash and during the SEC suing altcoins, where people thought altcoins and crypto were really dead. We then had the belief phase kick in from November 2023 to March of 2024, and this is when some people who had left last cycle came back into crypto. Then incredibly, on August 5th, we actually went back into the disbelief zone briefly, and that's why in my last video I said it was likely that the bottom was in. Forgive the title, this is just a dumb game that all of us YouTubers have to play, but in this video I said the following. I believe there is a greater chance that this level holds as opposed to failing, and therefore I've positioned myself accordingly. Now, since we're back in that belief phase now, people are slowly becoming optimistic on altcoins again. I believe the next time we get to this sort of thrill zone again, we're going to really accelerate. Now, I originally thought that the prior all-time high would be a possible local top for this cycle, but now that I think about it, once the thrill kicks in, prior resistances like this just get blown through. I think the top of the thrill stage for this cycle would be around $800 billion. After $800 billion, we would enter the mania phase from around $800 billion to $1.5 trillion best case. Now, when we do get to the top of the thrill stage, we will begin taking profits and DCing out slowly into the mania phase. If you look at the 2021 cycle, you can apply the same concepts. Notably, the thrill stage is the largest in terms of percentage gains, but the mania phase is actually very short and the percentage gains it offers in comparison to thrill are much less. It also gives you a sense of how much gains are still yet to come for this cycle. Now, the reason I shared this with you is so that we have a mental model in place and a sort of map for how this cycle could play out. It's just a way of framing the market so we don't get caught up in the hype and the thrill stages. It doesn't mean it's going to exactly play out like this. Every cycle throws you a curveball in some way. And this is actually also related to my twin alt season theory, which I'll explain at the end. But having this model will be useful to spot any sort of mid-cycle inflection points where the market could rug a lot of people and cause serious damage to our portfolios. Now let's zoom in a bit and take a look at the current market and analyze, is this rally really real or are we still in a range and going to go back down? Remember I said it's most likely that the bottom was in the last market update. Following on from that, in premium, I said I expected this rally to be a lot more sustained and more real because I realized that the pendulum of psychology had reached its limit. And the reason I knew that was because I felt myself getting fatigued by the market at this point over here with all the experience I had in crypto. So I knew that most weak hands and people were fully done by this point. So if you're one of those few people who managed to hold through this crash, and then also the subsequent second test that we had in September, you did exceptionally well. Because Crypto Lark, a so-called crypto veteran, sold the bottom on August 5th. And if he's doing that, can you imagine what regular retail is doing? Even if they survived August 5th somehow, the September slow bleed down again would have really gotten them out. Now, some of you are probably thinking it's too early to celebrate, and perhaps you're right. But the fact of the matter is, if you had the strength to hold through this period of the market, you're in a far better position now than if you had sold the bottom. So well done. But that begs the question, where do we go from here? To answer that, let's take a look at the current sentiment. I think the best way to look at sentiment in the market is to figure out what percentage of cash people hold or did hold recently. The USDT dominance spiked really high on August 5th. It spiked to the 2023 bear market range. So in a sense, you could say that just 7 weeks ago, sentiment was so bad that it was similar to the actual bear market. People flee into cash when they're really fearful. That's an important piece of information I've delivered to you because when these big inflection points appear in the market, it takes months for the next inflection point to develop. In essence, what I'm saying is that the August 5th crash really was cycle defining, and this current rally should likely last for a few months. And the reason I think that is because it takes time for the pendulum to swing properly from one end to the other. We had 6 months of pain and the pendulum reached a maximum, and it's now swinging the other way, and it's going to take some time to reach the other maximum of complete greed again. Further evidence I have to support the idea that the uptrend is real is through the technical chart. We can see clear higher highs and higher lows, coupled with us almost about to reclaim the weekly trend this Sunday. Other evidence is coins like Tau and Sui pumping really well. These are positive indicators from the market that we're risk on and we've got inter-cycle regime change. Because if you remember in the last couple of dips, we weren't seeing that. The conditions are more positive now and people are feeling FOMO and more ready to gamble their money away. But let's also take a look at the counter evidence. I would say perhaps it's possible that we're front-running the election, and also Bitcoin is still within a range. Without Bitcoin making a significant move, there's no real fuel in the tank to push altcoins higher. But to sum it up and make it really clear for you, let's keep it simple and look at the monthly chart. You saw what we went through in the last 6 months. People got forced out of the market and the strong survived. And we headed into a powerful cycle-defining support. To me, it makes more sense that if you zoom out, the next few months are green. I would also assign a low probability to reaching this $150 billion ball region again, given the context of the market and the recent strength. I would then assign the highest likelihood to the following scenario. I believe it's more likely that we get a more steady uptrend as the bears and bottom sellers start getting back into the market slowly, which then finishes off with a larger parabolic move. We'll have to slowly regain the belief in the market. I would also give credence to the idea that a lot more people got sidelined than we realize, and the market might punish them by pumping really quickly and aggressively, although I think this is less likely. As long as we go up and my community is making money, I'm happy either way, but I do believe the era of pain is over and we have a lot to look forward to. If the climax of the downtrend is behind us, then the worst case right now is just more chop until Bitcoin is ready to make that next leg up. Now for the most important part of this video. Firstly, I'm going to discuss my twin alt-season theory. This happened in 2021 where we had the first leg and then the much weaker second leg. The reason I'm more wary of a twin alt-season cycle happening is because when I really thought about it, this is what catches most people off guard. For the market to really go up, you don't want too many people in, otherwise it's a heavy boat, right? So the best way to lighten that boat is to these more tame, muted alt-seasons that have people believing that a 2017 style leg is coming, only to do similar to what we had in summer of 2021 and summer of 2024. In that case, this is how it could play out. And remember, this is just a theory. I think this cycle, we could see a move into thrill. People will be like, we have so much higher to go. We're not even a 2x above the previous all-time high. And then we get a nasty correction down to the bottom stage 3, where people think it's over and a bear market is coming. And then from there, we get a mega move into the mania territory, coinciding with Q4 of 2025, which is the traditional 4-year cycle top. I'm putting this out there months in advance, just so that we're aware of this possibility. The thing is, I knew this was possible in 2024 as well with videos I made in February, but the execution of it in reality is very, very difficult. But next time, we'll go through it together. I think this scenario would really catch the majority of people off guard, and being aware of these things can provide a huge edge later on. I also don't want to be married to this scenario over here or any narrative of what the cycle is going to do, because every cycle is slightly different. Instead, it's important to focus on when you can see the trend is exhausting. So back to the example of $800 billion being the first major top, I'd look for some signs that the trend is weakening or rolling over here as confluence to this theory. Now, why do I say the next 12 months are the most important ones in your life? There's 2 reasons for that. I think this is the last cycle where we get a semblance of a proper bubble. There was a study done where it takes people 3 cycles to learn from their mistakes. This is most people's second cycle. If other people make mistakes and get greedy again, that is an opportunity for you. The next cycle after this, a lot more people will have learned from their mistakes and the gains will drastically diminish. I'm not saying you won't make money, but in terms of easy mode, even this cycle, you've seen how hard it is. But you can see it's still worth sticking around. Next cycle will be a lot harder for a lot less gains. So lock in for these next 12 months, take profit well this cycle, and compound it by buying in the next bear market. That's my exact plan. If you want to see my personal exit strategy for this cycle, check out my premium research service. The exit strategy in here is good enough to be sold separately. You'll also get access to the new coins I'm buying and selling with live portfolio alerts, and get access to my exact portfolio. I will likely be raising the prices in the next few weeks, so if you want to get in at the lowest entry there will be this cycle, get in now and lock in this price. If you want to pay via crypto, you can get a 40% discount on the annual subscription by heading over to the Discord and creating a ticket in the crypto payment channel. This makes the most sense as the timing will be in line with the 4-year cycle end, so you'll have access right towards the end of the cycle. Thanks for watching.